Well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you. This is a smashing great report. I love this because it shows the absolute panic right now on the part of these globalists who want to retain their power. Okay, this is out of the Washington Examiner. I'm going to get right into it. But hey, real quick, lumberjacklogicshow.com. You can get yourself some of that great merch and register your email. My gosh, they just struck me again. I appealed and I actually won. I can't believe it. Anyways, so this out of the Washington Examiner. Democrats' gas tax gimmick shows they're really scared about November. It doesn't matter how long you've been writing about and covering politics in Washington. Just when you think you've seen the most ridiculous, silliest, most desperate ideas ever to float through a news cycle, some politicians' survival instincts suddenly surprise you. The Democrat Party's political warriors are evidently soiling their armor over the most recent round of internal polls. Folks, they're unreal. We haven't seen this. It has now surpassed 1982 poll. This is unbelievable, okay? It's getting so bad for these globalists that they do not know what to do. Now, again, I warn you, this is why we need to get involved locally, make sure we're getting good candidates to our ticket as Republicans and Democrats. But bottom line is, if we just have more people who are opposed to freedom and who will turn and tuck tail and take money at every turn to usurp your freedoms and your constitutional rights, we are going to have real problems. Okay, the Democrat Party's political warriors are evidently soiling their army. I love that line. Not only are they abruptly repealing the very mandates they recently reimposed on their voters. Don't kid yourself for a second. They are not doing this because they want to. They just reimposed the mandates and now they're taking them away this quick. The only states that are left full on are like New York and Washington. Look, they're in literal panic mode. They were doing everything they could to peddle fear, to keep us divided, okay? Seriously. I mean, I hope everybody sees this. They were doing this nonstop, peddling this fear nonsense, trying to keep us divided as Americans, as Canadians, all over, okay? Let's see. They insisted just 5 minutes ago were scientific, because science, necessary to prevent humankind from perishing. But now they are doing something that would normally cause Democrats to break out in hives. They are actually offering a massive tax break that benefits the fossil fuel industry. I kid you not. This is real. Senators Mark Kelly of Arizona and Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, both of whom face re-election right now. Massive polling showing the job disapproval higher than their approval ratings. Okay, it's out of control. Are now floating the idea of a gas tax holiday. It would begin now and last until they are safely reelected. Until January 1st, 2023. Do you guys see the blatant hypocrisy, the blatant malfeasance of this kind of action? Okay, look, let me just go on here a little bit more. This has to be just about the most transparently desperate gimmick in recent political history. It demonstrates not only that Democrats don't really believe all that global warming claptrap, but it also shows that they have no principles on the issue of taxation and will do anything to not lose their powerful positions, people. This is where this is at. They do not want to lose their positions of power. We have seen these people flip-flop on everything just recently because they are so concerned about what's coming. Are we up to 30 now Democrats who have basically resigned? The blood is in the water. They are running scared. The most disappointing part of that is they will probably get rewarded with jobs on CNN, but I digress because CNN's off 90% in viewership. Oh. So what are they going to do? Get nothing for pay? Tucker is attracting more young Democrats than they are because he actually asks serious questions. Oh, I watched a Russell Brand piece with Tucker Carlson just eviscerating, and Russell Brand was falling apart. It was funny stuff. Okay, we love tax reduction as much as the next editorial board, but ideal tax policy is consistent, broad-based and avoids creating perverse incentives. Even the most hardened libertarian understands that there are legitimate functions of government that need consistent funding sources. Yeah, it's called police, fire, and roads. Okay, we don't need a Department of Education. We don't need an FBI. They are not police. They are a federal force that is at the whim of the next well, right now, the Biden dictator in chief, okay, but it changes and it's bad. I am this spying on Americans. Come on, anyways. And as for perverse incentives, there are probably many, but here's a few. Why adapt a tax policy that encourages people to hoard gasoline this coming December for use after the tax is reinstated? Seriously, that's what I do. I go buy a big bulk tank. If they're going to give a gas tax holiday, I can find a used one cheap and then just fill it up with gas. I mean, seriously, that's what I do. I mean, you can't get any returns on cash. Cash is losing value so fast, and the markets are so overinflated. What are you going to do? Anyways, is this intended to be a favor to companies that manufacture gasoline cans? I mean, they weren't getting enough business out of Canada. Now they need more business. Turning a blind eye to climate implications. Don't Democrats usually tell us that fossil fuels are destroying the world? This is just plain gimmickry. Gas taxes are levied for a reason. The funds raised go into something called the Highway Trust Fund. You guys aware of this? It goes into this highway trust fund to be used for highways. Minnesota's gas tax goes into a road trust fund used for roads. That's the whole point of this. Although there have been some little machinations to then redivert to, anyways, there's a whole thing on this, and I can't cover that too. The money is, it's marked for infrastructure. Yeah, remember, I thought we needed an infrastructure bill to fund infrastructure, but instead of funding gender studies in Pakistan and all kinds of other crap, all kinds of government boondoggles. So if that bill was for infrastructure, now they want to remove money from infrastructure? Do you see the dichotomy here? I mean, this is so blatantly obvious that it's just political hackery. Alternatively, if this is solely an attempt to ameliorate the effects of high gas prices on their popularity, Democrats should drop their opposition to building more pipelines. I mean, really, let's just pipelines and leases on federal lands, right? I mean, if you really want to bring down the price of fuel, we're up to, is it $90 a barrel right now for oil? Do you remember the good times with Trump? Huh? I do. Anyways, the problem of high gas prices is a supply problem, not a tax problem. The gas tax, after all, has remained consistent at 18.4 cents per gallon for nearly 30 years. Besides, it makes a lot more sense to drive gas prices down with additional supply than it does to have government temporarily forgo the revenue it needs to keep the nation's road system. In fact, if you drove those prices down by increasing supply, you would get more driving and thus create more gas tax and thus create more infrastructure. I mean, this is unreal. Anyway, we hope as much as anyone that Democrats have an epiphany on issues of taxation and suddenly want to lower taxes instead of increasing them. Even if it is just an insincere election year effort to stop the bleeding, at least Kelly and Hassan, are being forced to think of their constituents and not just the major special interests that donate to Democrats in Washington. But we are at least heartened to see how scared and panicky they must be to propose something this gimmicky. And kid yourself not, this is an absolute gimmick, and I think voters will be able to see right through it. I don't think it's going to improve their polling numbers. We're counting on you, America. Anyways, hey, please too, go check out mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack. You'll save up to 66%. Actually, the savings are phenomenal over there right now. I know I keep saying that, but they really are. Best sales of the year. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I love you, folks. Peace out.